We just did it, folks. We broke out to a new all-time high this morning on XRP to $3.38. And if you're watching this video wondering whether you're too late to the party, I believe we're on the verge of a massive breakout and the tipping point into a world where XRP sits on its throne in the annals of history as one of the best performing assets to ever grace the portfolios of retail investors, where they actually got it right before the majority of institutional players. And right now, XRP is just on the verge of a $200 billion market cap and is almost half that of Ethereum, sitting at $400 billion. It's literally sucking all of the liquidity out of the market like a vacuum. Just look at its performance and relative strength to the market. On the week, it's currently up 38%, whereas Bitcoin is up only 3%. You have Ethereum down almost 1%. You have major players like Solana and Dogecoin and even Cardano up 6, 10, and 14% respectively. However, XRP is up so tremendously at such a large market cap because there's obviously demand for this right now, whereas the rest are being left in the dust. Now, I believe Ethereum will have its day in the sun and begin to trend this bull market, but with how weak it's been performing, this signals a true lack of demand from institutional players, while all demand and eyes are on XRP. As you can see here, XRP is this current price action chart sitting at 533% up since the election on November 5th, while this purple line is Ethereum, up a measly 34% in the same time frame. In other words, XRP has outperformed Ethereum to the tune of 500%. This echoes of the 2018 bull market, where XRP continually surpassed Ethereum to take spot number 2 next to Bitcoin. As you can see, Bitcoin at the time was number 1. XRP came in at number 2 above Ethereum with $123 billion over Ethereum's $94 billion. Now, this is way back when crypto was far more nascent and young and there was far less money in it. But at the end of the day, this could potentially happen this cycle as well. So with this in mind, I'm now beginning to believe it's possible for XRP to surpass the market cap of Ethereum this cycle, which begs the question, just how high could XRP go this bull market? As I expect the bull market to last through May of this year and potentially all the way into 2025, which I'll discuss in this video. And this is truly some exciting stuff, folks, as XRP is now the #1 trending crypto on all social platforms and is blowing all other conversations out of the water. As you can see, this is XRP and the volume it's experiencing in terms of conversations. The next is Jupe, Sol, Litecoin, so on and so forth. But XRP is blowing them out of the water. And this data comes from Sentiment, which gathers conversations and data from Telegram, Reddit, Twitter, 4chan, and a few other social platforms. Not only that, but XRP has now surpassed Bitcoin in terms of search volume on Google twice over the last 90 days, which is extremely rare. As you can see here, the orange line is Bitcoin, the blue line is XRP, and this is search volume on Google. That said, back on December 2nd, XRP surpassed Bitcoin, and yet again, as of today, XRP is surpassing Bitcoin. Now, before I get a crazy amount of flack from the XRP know-it-alls in the comments saying XRP hit $3.80 some cents at its all-time high back in 2018, in that we aren't currently at an all-time high right now, this isn't true, at least not for the majority of exchanges or the majority of the population. As you can see here, back on Bitstamp, if you look at a weekly time frame right here, the all-time high was $3.31. If I go ahead and pull up another US-based exchange, you can see that back in 2018, the all-time high was $3.34, and that's on Kraken. Heck, even if you look at Binance, the Binance all-time high was $3.35. In other words, that $3.80 some cent high happened in smaller markets on smaller Korean exchanges and was because of the kimchi premium, which ChatGPT explains well. In other words, it hit $3.80 some cents because of high demand for crypto, which led to phenomenon known as the kimchi premium, where crypto prices in South Korea were significantly higher than global averages due to localized market dynamics, including regulatory barriers and limited supply on domestic exchanges. People were willing to bid it up further. But maybe this will provide us some insight into what's to come next on a global scale. As we truly experience a liquidity crunch and demand soars, there simply won't be enough XRP available on exchanges to supply everyone who wants to buy XRP. There will be bidding wars, and everyone who is at XRP first will be rich on paper. However, not everyone will actually be rich because they won't take profit, and there simply won't be enough dollars for everyone to take profit. Now, there will be three kinds of people watching this video. The first kind is someone who just found this channel and would be a first-time investor in XRP. Maybe you've heard about it over and over and over again. Maybe you keep hearing about it, especially now that it's breaking out to new all-time highs, and you have no clue what to do, but you want to buy. The second type of person is someone who knows a thing or two about XRP, has invested in crypto before, and maybe even holds a small bag of XRP, but you've been burned by the market before and feel skittish buying into new all-time highs. You want to buy XRP, but conviction is low on when to enter. Still, you're wondering if you should buy now or into a pullback, which I'll address your concerns in this video. And the third kind of person is an XRP veteran. You've been through the euphoria phases and through the crashes. You've made plenty of mistakes and still hold XRP. You aren't selling. Maybe you're wondering though whether you should add to your bag now or wait a bit, and what prices you should hold into. Now, as a quick disclaimer, nothing in this video that I share is intended to be financial advice. These are solely my opinions, and this video is for educational and informational purposes only. So with all of that said, let's get into the video. And if you're feeling blessed and bullish, comment 777. And if you're going to be the wealthiest person in your family tree, smash the subscribe button. Hello, bull runners, and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Paul, and you can find me on Twitter or X at PauliDefi, PauliDefi. Now, we have some really exciting news today as XRP finally broke out to a new all-time high, $3.38, currently sitting at $3.28 at the time of recording this video. And if you're watching this video at any point in time today, tomorrow, maybe even this week, it is potential that XRP could pump all the way to $3.50 to even $4+. But because this is such exciting news, I'm not going to cover too much else other than the price, some potential price targets, some potential pullbacks, how to operate with your portfolio in a time like this. And again, that isn't financial advice. This is just based on my own experience after 9 years as a crypto investor, and generally speaking, to help guide you through this euphoria phase, because a lot of folks are truly excited. And that's even showing up here in terms of its social dominance chart and its trending social rank. You can see that this green line is the price of XRP, now to a new range high. You can see that this yellow line is the social dominance XRP MA, so a moving average over 30 rolling days, and it kind of peaks right off after the previous all-time high. You can see we're trending all the way to the upside yet again. So it's not as high as it was back here, but I expect it to reach this previous range high, if not higher, as we continue to see more momentum. And then you can see right here that as of January 15th and the 16th, it's first place in terms of social ranks, which means it's being talked about more than anything else. So then what should you do? Well, we'll look at the price action here shortly. We'll also cover a bit of news. However, what I'm looking at is the price action and chart on XRP. Now, what I'm going to pull up is some cohorts of groups of people or individuals or institutions that currently hold XRP to the tune of 1 to 100,000 tokens. This was what I would consider a retail investor, just to see what they're doing, okay? And what this basically means is whether or not they're accumulating XRP or dumping it. And as you can see, since the range high back here at $2.90, retail investors, anyone who holds between 0.1 to 100,000 XRP, has consistently been accumulating. At one point in time, they held about 9.2 billion tokens. Now they hold 9.5 billion tokens. That's quite an increase into this range, and then the new all-time high. Now, this is what I would call our investors, anyone who holds 1 million to 10 million XRP. These are people who have a bit more money and play with some serious size. I'm going to go ahead and show that metric. And as you can see here, since the lows back in November of this year and since the previous range high, these guys have been accumulating far more. Again, they usually have more money, to the tune of 3.8 billion all the way up to 5.3 billion and a new high in terms of the amount of XRP they hold. This speaks volumes to the conviction that even XRP investors have. And now for the big boys, anyone that's an institution and likely not Ripple, as the company itself holds the majority of their tokens in an escrow. However, anyone who holds between 100 million to a billion XRP coins, I would argue, is a major institutional player. And right here, if I show that metric, you can see that since the point in time, even actually back in November as well, they've kind of been bouncing around a lot all the way through that previous all-time high, but then they gain in a lot of conviction through these ranges right here into what I would call the consolidation zone, and have consistently been accumulating. And what's interesting is that the institutional players seriously accumulated at the price of about $2.30 into our present range high of $3.38, and they accumulated quite a bit of XRP. We're talking from 9.3 billion, they accumulated to 10.3 billion. In other words, they added a billion XRP tokens to their bags before this pump, and I believe that's what caused it. So what do these people know that we don't? I believe we're on the verge of an institutional adoption phase where we have the XRP spot ETF approved, and I think they already know what's coming because they're insiders, which is why they're accumulating so much XRP. Now, really quickly before we continue this video, if you haven't already, check out bullrunners.com. You can find the link in the description below. It'll take you to Altcoin Pro University, which is your one-stop shop for crypto education, classes, resources, and a community that is bar none the best in the entire space. We have almost 1,200 paying members. So these are people that are very serious about being here, and a lot of them contribute a lot of value. But where the real value lies is not only in our community, but in the fact that we have consistent pros sharing altcoin picks that sometimes 5x, 10x, 15, 50x, you name it. We teach you how to do technical analysis and fundamental analysis like a pro through our comprehensive library of classes and courses, which you can consistently take. And we're always adding to our library. We show you how to get access to DeFi yields and airdrops, and you name it. The list goes on. Here's a 26-minute video that explains everything that you get on the other side. And I will be doing live calls this year starting February. So if that's something that interests you and you have questions for me, or you'd like to be in the back end on a live call, go ahead and join Altcoin Pro University. And what makes this more exciting, and I would argue more urgent, is the fact that in 9 days, we are going to be hosting our very first live Mansion Mastermind in January 26th through the 28th. Here's a video of Nick explaining exactly how you get access, but you do have to join Bull Runners in order to go. But you'll be able to join us for a mixer. We'll be having catered meals. We'll be talking about crypto. We'll be connecting with the entire team. And this is going to be a beautiful location in Vegas. So if that sounds something like it's interesting to you, go ahead and go to bullrunners.com or click the very first link below to check this out and attend our upcoming event. Now let's get back into the video. Now, the major news that we've been covering recently, and I will cover shortly today, and why XRP is pumping so freaking hard, is because investors are truly excited that this whole thing with the SEC is over. As just of yesterday, in the 11th hour, the SEC filed an appeal, almost for like, you know, they wanted to ensure max pain for XRP investors, but it's absolutely silly. Anyways, they filed their appeal and claimed that XRP is an unregistered security yet again. However, Stuart Alderodi, which is the chief legal officer over at Ripple, said, as expected, the SEC's appeal brief is a rehash of already failed arguments and likely to be abandoned by the next administration, which is incoming in about 4 days. We'll respond formally in due time. For now, know this: the SEC's lawsuit is just noise. And I think the entire market agrees, because otherwise XRP wouldn't be pumping as hard. A new era of pro-innovation regulation is coming, and Ripple is thriving, and boy is it thriving. Now, to further this argument, Jeremy Hogan, which is a lawyer that's consistently been following XRP and the SEC lawsuit, basically showed inside of the court documents that the SEC is only appealing the ruling that XRP sold to retail investors on exchanges which were not sales of securities. In other words, they want to argue that XRP did sell or was sold as a security. However, that argument is certainly becoming even more difficult now that XRP is at $3+. To which he said he found this brief from the SEC lackluster, almost as though the drafter knew they were wasting their time. And why wouldn't there be, right? As Gary Gensler is on his way out and XRP is absolutely thriving and more likely will with a new administration. In other words, the SEC has to do with the case is what he calls a Frankenstein. They are Frankensteining together a case ruling which might help them. This means the SEC had to piece one sentence together from 2 pages of text. It's not good, and to make matters worse, when you read the case, you realize investors knew exactly who the seller was and what the promises were. In other words, Ripple is likely to rip this case to shreds. Then you had crypto lawyer John Deaton join live on Fox Business and talk about this case, which has gained a lot of attention and traction as XRP has pumped to new all-time highs.
I think the SEC is going to lose, but that doesn't mean Ripple's going to get an outright win either. But I think the SEC is going to lose at summary judgment because of the theory that they went with. Charlie, normally when you go after a promoter, you say, well, on this particular day, you made an unregistered securities offering or sell. And that particular transaction was a security, an investment contract. And now they're saying that all sales of XRP, the token itself is a security.
I think
that's the problem.
See, John, this is why.
Either way, nobody actually cares about the current SEC anymore, as even Dave Portnoy posted this XRP token blasting off. Now, Dave Portnoy is someone who's consistently bagged on crypto because he got wrecked in crypto, but he is the major shareholder and I think direct owner of Barstool Sports. That said, he has 3.4 million followers just on Twitter alone and far more across all social media platforms. This is the one bite pizza guy. But what gets me really excited is the fact that Trump's sons consistently have talked about and been huge proponents of crypto, and so has Trump. They probably influenced their father. Now that XRP and Solana are next on the block to get a spot ETF. At that news, apparently, according to Cointelegraph, which usually posts pretty solid information, said this: breaking, Trump considers US-based crypto reserve, potentially prioritizing coins like Solana and XRP, which would be such huge news that I truly believe it would put XRP into the many hundreds of billions in terms of market cap. Now let's dive into the price action. Now bear with me, folks. I'm going to try to address all of your questions, whether you're a veteran, whether you're freaking new, or whether you're one of those guys somewhere in the middle. That said, I've consistently been covering XRP, and if you watch our previous videos on the channel during the months of December all the way since back in November, we've actually covered this thing pretty much to a T, especially on my videos. That said, I did make a mention of the fact that we've consistently seen support here down at the $2 range all the way to $1.95, and so I'm going to put 2 lines there. Consistently we saw some major wicks and then buys back down into this range. I expected XRP at one point to break potentially below these range lows right here at $1.95 and potentially wick some folks out, but then when we actually held a support at $2 and started breaking to the upside, this signaled more strength than expected. Then I made a mention of the fact that we had to break above this range right here. And so this is really good information for education so you can see and recognize these types of patterns next time, because it played out almost to a T. Whenever we broke above this range right here, this descending wedge where we had a series of lower highs, and I'll go ahead and circle those right now. This was our previous range high. This was our next high, which was lower than the range high. Then we had another couple of highs that were both lower than the previous high and the high before that. But however, we had a consistent range support right here. And so there were no new lower lows. Our next major low after these lows came in right here at about $2.20, which interestingly enough was a confluence with our 10 and 20 EMA, a confluence of supports. Okay, what that means is that we had multiple things pointing in the same direction, right? Whether it's it's indicators or price action or simply trend. However, what happened was the price broke down below the 10 EMA, which is the blue line, and the 20 EMA, which is the orange line. We had a slight crossover here, but then price pumped hard from our local lows right here as a support and went right back above the 10 and 20 EMA when we saw a crossover. Right here, you would have had an indication that maybe we're ready to break out. Where a true breakout happened, however, is when we broke above this descending wedge. And as you can see here, we were again supported for 1, 2, 3, and 4 days at that 20 EMA or the orange line. So let me go ahead and remove all of those drawings and really just focus on what we saw here and something that explained why we were entering early, okay, or at least early into this breakout. So not only do we have a break above this range, but I said, you know, if we break above the $2.61 to 62 cent range right here, which seemed to be our strong resistance with a bull trap right here at $2.90, and then we had a breakdown on that Korean martial law news. However, a break right into this range on some volume will confirm to us that this thing is ready to fly, especially if we get a break above the $2.60 range on even more volume. And so what I was looking for was a confirmation of that volume, and it doesn't really matter on what exchange as long as it has hundreds of millions of dollars of volume. And you can see right here, volume was well below average, which is this white line at the bottom right here, for quite some time. And so whenever you see this, this is indicative of a consolidation. As long as price continues to maintain a range and is trending to the upside over the long term, consolidations like this are very healthy. What I would like to see then is an explosion in volume, or at least a growth in volume. And as you can see from this consolidation phase, volume was continuing to trend up. We had a series of higher highs on the volume bars, especially on the buys. Now, from this point in time, you can see that back at the all-time high on December 2nd and 3rd, volume was consistently declining. And this is again indicative of some profit taking and, better yet, consolidation. But whenever you start to see volume increase and incline, and then you get a growth or an explosion in volume, if I replay it to this previous day, you can see volume on the day went up from about $100 million all the way up to $350 million in a single day, which was a 220% gain above the previous range. And by the way, this is a tool that we have custom built. It's not your typical volume tool, so it's very helpful because I can see how many millions, something that you will be able to get access to through the bull runners and through Altcoin Pro here in the near future. So we're super excited to share these types of tools with you because these are very insightful and helpful in how we actually track and measure breakouts. Volume is simply one of the best tools to measure whether or not we're actually getting a confirmation in a move. So let me go ahead and remove that bar replay. Let's go ahead and double click on that. And as you can see here, right into this next day, we had a major confirmation that this breakout is tested, tried, and true. There is real money behind it. So I don't expect XRP to break down super quickly unless we get some sort of a major event in the economy or a breakdown on Bitcoin and the S&P 500, because ultimately, although XRP is outperforming everything else and sucking the liquidity away from everything else, that doesn't mean that it's still not subject to market forces greater than itself. XRP still trades like a risk on asset. That means when it pumps way harder than everything else. And when it dumps, it can also dump really freaking hard. And if you've been watching or trading XRP over the last 7 years, like I have, actually since 2017, this was actually the first crypto I ever bought, which is funny. And we bought it at under a penny. You can even ask my father. We're the first persons to tell him. My brother and I, we had a friend named Trung who went out to Southeast Asia, and there was a guy shilling it like crazy. He came back and told us, we decided, we're not too sure, but we tossed $500 at it because we had no clue what crypto even was. I'd heard about Bitcoin, but I never touched it. This was in 2016, but we got super lucky. We were involved in that very first bull run rally, and it's been crypto on my mind daily since then. That said, we are now trending above the 10 and 20 EMA. And so if you go to that hourly time frame, and let me go ahead and remove those drawings yet again, we're really going to focus in on the price action right now. You can see that since the local lows of $2.30 on that breakdown, we've consistently been trending and playing with that 10 and 20 EMA. And a good buy zone would be the 20 EMA or anything just slightly below it. So for shorter term traders or investors, investors if you're looking to add to a position on XRP. And although I do expect this trend to continue to the upside, we could potentially even see $4 before we really start to see XRP pull back or break down, as all markets do when they rally really hard. Ultimately, you also want to pay attention to these higher time frames. So really, again, I like to focus on horizontal supports and resistances. I think that is a really good practice. It's actually better than typically using trend lines, which are diagonals. That said, we have a pretty strong support right here at $2.60 all the way down to about $2.53. So I'll go ahead and put a box right in this range right here. And it is very much possible upon this breakout that we could break right back down into this range. But it might take a few days. It might take a week, because as we're rallying really heavily and as the RSI and MACD are probably likely overbought, at the end of the day, we could break right back down to that $3 range, continue pumping and rallying all the way up to $4, $4.50. Who really knows? When you see this type of price action, you typically, if you're already in it, you want to hold. But if you're looking to buy, I'd play this 1 hour 10 and 20 EMA range. And if we break below and close on an hourly time frame below the 20 EMA, which is this orange line, you can pull up a 20 EMA. It's pretty straightforward. You look up indicators, you type in EMA, you click moving average exponential. Then from there, you click right here and you change the input to 20. And this is on TradingView, and it should pop up like this. Notice how it covered my other line. It's because it's the exact same. Again, if you want access to the Rook EMAs tool, you can get access through Bull Runners when you join at Altcoin Pro. However, the EMA tool is really helpful because this would be a good range to buy into a pullback. Right now, that current price is $3.14. However, breaking below there might take us into that 4-hour time frame where we break all the way down to 290. And again, we could bounce from there and see some new highs. We could bounce from there and see a lower high. So let me go ahead and draw that out right now. It could continue rallying, dump right here, bounce, lower high, and then continue breaking down. Or it could bounce and continue to the upside. At the end of the day, you have to play this hour by hour. So it's not as straightforward as you think. Me personally, because I'm already in this market, I don't want to be adding to my risk or adding to my position. So if you're already in it and you've got quite a big bag, probably not best to add to your risk because it could also break down. Instead, just hold for this major rally and watch that hourly to 4-hour time frame. Now, from the perspective, and I'll turn this off, from the perspective of anyone who's looking for a serious range to enter, I personally think the 4-hour 20 EMA would be a good time, maybe around that $2.90 to $2.95 range, which should take us back into the previous all-time high right here, or at least our previous range high, I should say. However, from a daily time frame, our EMAs are really lagging, which simply means that this range of support right back down here, $2.60 all the way to about $2.53 to $2.51. Let me go ahead and put a line right there, would be my major range support. If we continue rallying high, I would wait for a pullback to enter somewhere around here from 270 all the way down to 250. I'll probably dollar cost average or consistently add at those levels, because I think if we see a support here, things are really going to explode, and this is where things are going to get really exciting into May of this year. It could potentially even run all the way through the year, but usually the summers are really lackluster and slow, and I've seen it over and over and over again. We could see some insane new all-time highs, but that said, this is how I'm going to be playing this chart and product. So if you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe. It helps the channel out. You're going to get all sorts of content that trains you on stuff that I simply can't cover inside of these videos because we kind of have to keep them a little bit more brief. But if you want access to that and you also would like to meet us in Vegas on January 26th through the 28th, by the way, flights are super cheap to Vegas from just about anywhere. They want you there to spend your money. Instead, come to the Bull Runners and Altcoin Pro Mastermind Live to meet everyone on the team. You have to join Altcoin Pro in order to get access to that. Here's a 4-minute video of Nick explaining what this thing is like and how you get access, but it's really exciting, guys. We're going to run it in about 10 days, so I hope to see y'all there. Thanks so much for watching the video. Hit that link in the description below, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.